Alright guys, start to finish I am laying some caps. This is actually going to be a bench. This stone is a little bit wonky. It's got a lot of different thicknesses to it, so it makes it a little more difficult. Here I'm chipping a little bit off the top. Wanted to use that stone, and that was a little bit excessive. I end up chipping the bottom out of that as well. If you notice, it's sitting much higher than the other rocks, so I have to get it down to height. Now here I'm actually making marks. I'm tweaking what I set out earlier. I'm making it, stack right and keeping my joints tight. I like to make marks with my grinder, because you'll see in a second I go over to a wet saw and make my cuts with that. And the grinder doesn't blow off with the water like a pencil does. So a little more efficient, a little more accurate. As you're lining these out though, it's very important to make sure your stones are staying in the right place. If you look here, you can't really see me, but I'm constantly adjusting my stones and making sure that my joints are staying where I want them to be before I make my cuts. So that will make a huge difference when you're laying it, and it allows you to go a little bit further. Just make sure you're going back and your stones didn't get shifted as you're setting stuff on top of them. Alright, got everything lined up. I am actually no hod carrier today, so I'm packing my own hod, getting my mud. I actually mix my mud in a bucket with a drill. I like to do 2 buckets because I can mix a whole bag at once. So when I put too much water in, so I cracked another bag. Wet your mud board and get your mud over there, and I get to start sticking. I just do a couple rocks at a time, pull them up, fill up the mud, and I like to use a 4-footer to make sure everything is flat. Here I'm just sloping my rocks out so the water runs off the face, doesn't collect in the back. And then just making sure everything's flat. There's not really a rocket science to this. Nothing's setting on top of it other than people's butts, so you just want it comfortable. And it's kind of relative, because this stone isn't the flattest stuff, so you kind of got to just use your best judgment and try to make it as flat as possible. There will be high and low spots in your rocks, and you just got to accept that. So just kind of working my way out. These edge pieces can be a little bit difficult, especially if they are thinner. It's nice if you have a lot of meat going back onto the bench, but you also want to break it up. So I put some shorter pieces in there and kind of suffer a little bit through them. And there's the finished product. Easy. I'm not quite done with it. I still have to come back and grout everything and fill in some of that back border.